The jungle was a wall of green, impenetrable and alive. My name is Eleanor Vance, and I was, for all intents and purposes, supposed to be on a guided eco-tour through the Amazon. A simple misstep, a moment of distraction looking at a blue morpho butterfly, and the path was gone. The voices of my group faded into the suffocating humidity, replaced by the chittering of unseen things. Panic, cold and sharp, was the first predator I met. I screamed until my throat was raw, but the jungle only screamed back with the calls of birds and monkeys, mocking my civilized distress. Days blurred. The sun was a distant molten coin glimpsed through the canopy. The nights were worse. That's when the jungle truly woke up. Every rustle of leaves was a predator, every snap of a twig a threat. I survived on rainwater collected in broad leaves and strange, bitter fruits I prayed weren't poisonous. My expensive hiking gear was shredded, my skin a tapestry of scratches and insect bites. I was no longer Eleanor, the London librarian. I was becoming something else, something wilder. It was on the 5th night, I think, that I first heard it. It wasn't an animal sound. It was a whisper carried on the damp air, a sibilant hiss that seemed to form a word, my name, Eleanor. I froze, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. It couldn't be. I was alone. I told myself it was the wind, the strain, my mind playing tricks. But the next night, it came again, closer this time. Eleanor. It was a dry, rasping sound, like dead leaves skittering across stone. I started moving during the day with a renewed, desperate energy. I had to find a river, a clearing, anything. But the jungle seemed to shift around me, the same monstrous trees and tangled vines appearing over and over again. It felt like I was walking in circles, trapped in a green labyrinth. The whispers followed me, sometimes sounding like they were right behind my ear, sometimes echoing from the dense foliage ahead. They were no longer just my name. They were weaving words together, ancient and guttural, a language I didn't understand but felt in my bones. One afternoon, I stumbled into a clearing I hadn't seen before. In the center stood a collection of crude stone effigies, covered in moss and vines. They were vaguely humanoid, with gaping mouths and hollow eyes that seemed to absorb the light. A cold dread, far worse than the fear of any jaguar or snake, settled over me. This was a place of worship, a wrong place. And at the base of the largest statue, I saw them, scraps of faded fabric, a worn leather boot, a compass with a cracked face. Remnants of others who had been lost. That's when I knew. I wasn't just lost. I was being hunted. The jungle wasn't just a place. It was a presence, and the whispers were its voice. It had been watching me, testing me, drawing me deeper into its heart. I ran. I didn't know where I was going. I just ran, branches whipping my face, thorns tearing at my clothes. The whispers turned to laughter, a chorus of dry, crackling sounds that echoed all around me. It was the sound of the jungle itself, amused by its little lost mouse. I found a small cave set into a rock face as dusk fell, and huddled inside shaking. I was beyond hunger, beyond exhaustion. All that was left was terror. As darkness consumed the clearing, the whispers started again, right outside the cave entrance. We see you, Eleanor. We've been waiting. You are not the first. You will feed the soil. You will become one of us. The voice was clearer now. A dozen whispers braided into one. I peered out from my hiding spot. Shapes began to resolve in the gloom. They weren't animals. They were tall, spindly things, with limbs too long and joints that bent the wrong way. They moved with a horrifying, jerky grace, their forms a shifting mass of leaves, bark, and what looked like human bones woven together. Their heads turned towards my cave, and in the place of faces, there were only those same dark hollow voids from the statues. They were the jungle's caretakers, its children. One of them took a step forward, its branch-like fingers scraping against the stone. It tilted its head, and a whisper slithered directly into my mind. "Come out. It is time to join the green." I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing myself against the back of the cave, my mind fracturing. This was the end. Lost, not to a place, but to a thing that was ancient and hungry. My civilized world was a dream I was waking from, and the nightmare was reality. I don't know how long I stayed in that cave, listening to them rustle and whisper just outside. Hours? A lifetime. At some point, a new sound cut through the night, the distinct whir of a helicopter. Hope, an emotion I thought had been bled out of me, flared painfully in my chest. The sounds outside my cave changed. The whispering stopped, replaced by a low, angry chittering. The creatures were agitated, disturbed by the intrusion. The helicopter's searchlight sliced through the canopy, a brilliant white spear in the oppressive darkness. It swept across the clearing, and for a terrifying second, it illuminated the things outside my cave. They recoiled from the light, scuttling back into the shadows with unnatural speed, melting back into the trees as if they were never there. The light passed over my cave, and I screamed, waving my arms, a primal, desperate plea for salvation. The light swung back, zeroing in on me. A voice, human and real, crackled over a loudspeaker. "We see you. Hold on, we're lowering a line." Tears streamed down my face, mixing with the dirt and grime. I scrambled out of the cave, stumbling towards the light, not daring to look back into the darkness. The jungle was silent now, but it was a watchful, resentful silence. It was letting me go, but I knew with a certainty that chilled me to the soul that it was not finished with me. The rescue was a blur. I was winched up into the belly of the machine, wrapped in blankets, spoken to in soft, concerned tones. They asked me questions I couldn't answer. How long had I been out there? How did I survive? I just shook my head, unable to form the words to describe the whispers, the statues, the things made of wood and bone. They would think I was mad. And maybe I was. I am back in London now. The concrete and glass should feel safe, a world away from that suffocating green hell. But it doesn't. At night, when the city quiets, I can hear it. In the rustle of leaves from the trees in the park, in the sigh of the wind against my window pane, I hear the whispers. Sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I see my eyes, and for a fleeting moment, they look like the dark, hollow voids of the effigies. The jungle took something from me, but it left something behind too, a seed of itself, planted deep inside me. I am home, but I am not free. It is still watching. It is still waiting. And I know, one day, it will call me back. Thanks for watching.